Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me. My name is David Muse. I would like a little bit of your time. I would like to take you on a tour and show you a little bit of the railroading around in my hometown and what has motivated me ever since I was a kid and what really pushed me towards model railroading. So yes, the view you see is that of the beautiful blue marble we call Earth, our home planet. So as we zoom in here, we come in, and by the magic of technology, and wow, this is really great, I'm glad I found this, we zoom right into the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., where I was born and raised. And right now you're looking down at Union Station. And as we kind of zoom through, you'll notice that Union Station, which has been around for a very long time, is a name that's commonly used about a lot of railroad stations here in North America. This station in particular holds a great interest for me and a lot of people who are rail fanners and love railroading. It has a south exit that goes out towards Virginia across the Potomac River, and it also has a north end stub that goes up towards Baltimore and points west towards Chicago and on out towards the west that way. So what I'd like to do now is kind of start this tour by this magical technology we have here. And as we look down at Union Station, you're looking down all of the tracks that currently exist now. To handle all of this, back in 1901, Union Station needed a company or needed someone to come in that could handle moving passenger trains in and out and processing them down at places like Ivy City and other things, and then getting provisions into Union Station, also getting mail in and out. So now as we travel down, I'd like to show you how Union Station, as we go through the throat and we come out, and now we see New York Avenue, which is the roadway passing from underneath the screen to the top. Coming under is all of the trackage that exists now. There was a lot more back in earlier days. If you go on to do a search of Union Station and Washington Terminal, you'll see a lot of other tracks. There was a lot of coal that was brought in Washington, D.C. to fire the furnaces for heat and other things in government buildings and other residences here in the nation's capital for a very long time. A lot of those tracks are gone now, but some of the history has been preserved in photographs. Just off to the right of New York Avenue is the Old Farmers Market, which no longer exists now, but Washington Terminal used to switch that also. And the rail line going under New York Avenue and heading out past the passenger car facility to the right of it is the passenger line servicing the Northeast Corridor, going up towards Baltimore, Philadelphia, Delaware, New York, and points north of there all the way up to Boston. And coming under New York Avenue and going the opposite direction is Eckington Yard, and going out would be the west lead going out of Union Station towards Chicago and places and points west. It's a very interesting area, and geographically it's just kind of cool how it's all laid out. Passenger car facility in front of you was once used to handle the passenger trains for B&O, C&O, RF&P, Pennsylvania Railroad, Seaboard Airline, and Atlantic Coast Line. And now they're handling, since 1971, no longer handling those railroads. They are handling the commuter service here, VRE, which services the south side of Washington going into Virginia. And on the north end, going towards Baltimore and going out west, would be MARC. And later on in some videos, I'll be getting into that because I'll be doing some models of those. And I don't know if I'll be able to model any of the passenger car facility. This is a big area, and just won't be able to do that. So as we go now and we zoom out, this gives you a little bit better perspective of how this is actually laid out. So the passenger car facility right at the bottom there, Eckington Yard off to the left, and just above that is what we call here the post office curve, which is the top of the Y that forms the Y outside of Union Station that folks are, always mentioning a lot of times. And then once again, the westbound line, and then over to the top kind of right center portion of your screen is Ivy City. That's the engine and car facility for Amtrak now. But now it's being used predominantly by Amtrak. And sometimes if there are private car owners that come in, their cars are processed there. As you look at the facility, you're looking from from east to west. On the east end, which is your right-hand side as you look at the facility, where the leads are going into the building itself, where that little building and parking lot is, used to be a turntable there, and they had a lot of fuel racks, ash pits, all kinds of things. And you saw passenger cars from a lot of different railroads, so it was really cool to see that. But now it's Amtrak, and predominantly Amtrak. So they process the Acela and a lot of the Northeast regional trains and commuter trains that come through. And as you zoom into it, you see it's a really kind of interesting place to model also. Right at the bottom right corner of the screen is actually the sanding tower and diesel rack, the diesel rack and sanding tower for locomotives, and also fuel racks, as well as wash racks for locomotives. There is a facility also back over on the other side of the Y, and we'll see that in a moment, that handles washing the cars as they come through. And the building itself is quite interesting. You can pull a full train consist, locomotive and cars, an Acela train into there, and it's completely covered from end to end. So it's a fantastic building. I wouldn't be able to do all of that, but I may try and do a portion of that on a part of my layout. So as we move along here and we come back and we kind of see a different orientation of how this is laid out, you see a little bit more of the curve. The big sand-colored building up in the right portion of the picture there at the top of the Y going out westbound is the post office handling facility. As you come down in the Eckington Yard, right there, the building with the black roof is the Metro car barn and facility, and where they store Metro subway cars. And that used to be a piggyback yard, as well as a full-size yard going all the way up, going westbound, and headed out westbound, and that was run by B&O, and we had coal towers down there, and this gives you a little bit better perspective of it. And now we move up the main line, and crossing over is Metro, and you see the platform up there at Rhode Island Avenue, and then you see other buildings off to your left and right, and this strip right off the side of the main line is something I'm going to be modeling actually in the layout. And we continue on up the main line, and it's beautifully kind of done along here. Well, I don't mean to say beautifully, but if you're into wanting to model something, I think I have a perfect example for main line. Metro comes under, splits the main line, the CSX main line, and as we come up right at the top of the picture is where I get on the bus and get off the bus and go to Metro to go to work every Monday through Friday. So I get to enjoy more trains. But it's cool to stand at that platform sometimes and see the Capital Limited or, Mark come through there, or some CSX consist. Seen some very interesting trains come through. If you're ever in this area, you really should look at, Google Earth and explore that and see some of the areas around where you can go train spot. It's very accessible. Metro platforms, your parks right by main lines and other areas. So enjoy yourself when you come here, but don't go away yet. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you to my version of the Washington Terminal Company and show you what's going on with that.